Welcome to Just Like That. Just Like That is all about candid conversations with minds on things that matter. Smita, a very warm welcome to Just Like That.
Thank you so much, Sahil. And I must say, you're looking very, very nice indeed. I love the pirate look.
Oh, thanks, Satan. I love the cute doggies right behind you. I know you have two or three right next to you, your
Yes,
favorite pets, but even the nice cushion in the back looks beautiful.
thank you.
So, Smita, just the other day, we were talking about this in one of our conversations about saying what's really happened in the year gone by and how each one of us have had various coping mechanisms to deal with such an unprecedented year. But more importantly, we've also seen a lot of people who have latched onto this positivity bandwagon. Do you want to say a little more? Because at the end of the day, it's very good to be positive. In no way are we advocating that we shouldn't be positive. But at the same time, reality has its own role to play. So, what does this really mean to you?
All right, so let me clarify. Let me start with a small clarification. So, we're not saying don't be positive, we are saying don't be negative. But we are also saying don't jump onto the positivity bandwagon for the sake of it, because that is what then causes a blinkered or a rose colored view of the world, which gets in the way of reality. And when you're unable to see reality for what it is, one is that you have a very warped view of the world, and you tend to just see the bright side when there is a lot of the dark side also happening, and that truly is the context. And the second thing is that if you live in a rose colored bubble, you just set yourself up for disappointment. And that in turn can be, can lead to a whole host of things that can be pretty devastating after after a particular point.
Sure.
And I think recognizing reality is very, very important, because then it allows you to take the necessary action in order to be effective in that particular reality.
No, absolutely. Very valid points. But what really got me thinking was what is the real underlying need for people to jump onto this positivity bandwagon?
I think it is a need for something to clutch onto. It is the need for to, it's a crutch. Like many things in our lives, it just provides a crutch when we think that there is nothing else there, in order to help us get through tough times, to help us make the most of bright times as well. But end of the day, uh, it's not positivity itself that I'm against. It's the bandwagon, and it's the whole hype and hoopla that is being made currently about positivity, which actually I think sets people up for disappointment, sets them into, I mean, takes them into a completely unreal world. And then to deal with reality becomes very, very difficult.
So does this whole bandwagon, if we make for as a another word as a synonym, call it as a fad, take people away from reality? For example, I don't have a nice wall at the back, so I've got a virtual background. You have a wonderful, nice cushion at the back, a nice painting behind you, so you've got a natural background. And therefore, if I keep doing more and more of these filters, I'm actually camouflaging a lot of who I am as a person. And again, a virtual background just being an analogy, but in the whole way of living life, like let's pick up this classic case, right? I pick up the phone and I ask you, Smita, how are you? And you say, मैं साहिल को क्या बोलूं? Should I tell him that, yeah, all good, ठीक है? Or should I be honest and tell him, you know what, Sahil, lagi padi hai? Because at the end of the day, the whole concept is going to be that if Smita is going to keep cribbing and crying every time Sahil calls us, Sahil is going to say, listen, yeah, Smita is a downer. But otherwise, if Smita keeps faking it and says, oh, everything is good, I'm rocking, I just had a wonderful party last night, social distancing, but had a great time, I went shopping, everything is good. Does that create that positivity or the bandwagon that you're talking about? Or is that a mirage?
I don't think that's the bandwagon. I think that's the mask that you wear, and you wear that mask with certain people. You don't wear that mask with certain people. At least that's the way it works for me. The bandwagon is really all about You know, guess what? COVID has ruined the economy, but guess what? It has provided so many opportunities. The fact of the matter is that, yes, it has provided so many opportunities, but not as many as you think. So there is still huge amounts of unemployment. There is still huge amounts of healthcare needs. Still a lot of pain and suffering. And I think in order to tackle those issues, you first need to recognize them. And if you keep just talking about the opportunities, I think you're really missing the wood for the trees. And it doesn't allow you to then really seriously tackle the things that matter. I mean, it's really creating an unreal world, or creating, as you put it, an unauthentic person. So, it's lying to yourself, it's lying to the world, it's lying and creating a false reality, and just not recognizing it takes away from recognizing the truth of what is really happening.
Sure. So as you suggest, bandwagon, right? Everybody just latches on to it. What are some of the things you'll really give out there to the people to say? One, how do you be cognizant of it? Two, how do you ensure that just because it's the herd mentality, you don't latch on to it? And three, even if you do latch on to it, how do you really come out of it successful? Any thoughts there?
So I think information is very important. Keep yourself well informed. Read the bad news as well as the good news. Keep yourself well informed, uh, and use your own intelligence, use your own judgment as to what you really think is, uh, the truth of the matter. And also, I think it's become a little bit of a guilt trip. So if you don't appear positive, then you're labeled negative. So to me, this is not a binary situation. There are shades of gray, and the trick is to recognize those shades of gray. And not being overly positive does not make you negative. There is a whole piece of reality in between. There is a whole piece of context in between, which color what somebody will call negativity, somebody else will call reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Because red can be danger for someone, and red can also be love for someone, right? So
Yes,
the same color, forget
absolutely.
the different color, right? The same
Yes.
color can be looked at very differently.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. But if you are on the positivity bandwagon, you will say that, oh, guess what? We've beaten the bug and COVID is gone. We're shutting down all our jumbo COVID centers. We're dismantling all of that. But the fact of the matter is that there are no ICU beds. So God forbid you go shopping at Crawford Market and you without a mask and you contract COVID. And if you have comorbidities like many people my age do, and I do myself, and you need an ICU bed, you're not going to get it. So you better be cognizant of that, which will color then your view of whether you want to go shopping at Crawford Market or not. That's what I mean.
Fantastic. Great, Smita. Wonderful conversation, candid as always. Thank you so much for joining us on Just Like That.
Thank you, Sahil. Always a pleasure talking to you, just like that.
Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.